Alright, for my second video today, this is a request from my sister. Um, I'm going to talk about, just go through and mention my favorite movies of all time. Now, I'm 35 years old. We're in 1987. Most of these movies came out, well, some of them anyway, came out when I was young. There were some that came out before I was ever born, but I loved them. Some of these movies I was introduced to by my parents, or I saw them on TV. And this was a really hard list because I don't want to include every movie that I like, because I like a ton of movies. These are my favorites. Not a top 10, not a ranking list. These are just my favorite movies. It's real hard for me to I can't even think about what would be my top 5 or 10 movies. Although I think I know my top 2 movies of all time. I'm pretty sure I do. I know what my favorite is. But anyway, this first movie is a comedy. My mom introduced this to me. And it would be Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This is a very funny movie. So many classic funny scenes in this movie. It's hilarious. I laugh every time. I never, ever get tired of it. Now, I can never, quote it all, but I know there's people out there who do. I have friends out there I know who can. But, yeah, very, very funny movie. It's British comedy, and it's a little dry humor. And it's kind of hard for, Americans to understand the, British humor, but it's funny, though. Next movie, saw it on TV all the time growing up. And I just thought about this. I don't have a copy of it, but it's the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I loved those movies when I was a kid. The cartoon. I had 4 Ninja Turtles action figures. I, of course, lost them. I buried them. I mean, hey, what are you going to do? They died. They died in combat. I had to bury them. The movie has stuck with me my whole life, and whenever I see it on like HBO Max or wherever, I have to watch it. Next movie also came out. I'm pretty sure it came out when I was a kid. Yes, I was 1 when this came out, and that is Beetlejuice, which also had a cartoon that I enjoyed watching as a kid. Another movie that we saw on pay-per-view here came out when I was a kid. Forrest Gump. I don't know what you can say about this movie. It is a classic, and it's got Tom Hanks, who at least was a great actor. Now, this next one, there's 2 movies, but only one of them is one of my favorites. One came out when I was a kid, but it also had a cartoon, and that is Ghostbusters. I love the Ghostbusters movies. Afterlife is not a bad movie. I liked it. Now, the 2016 remake, if it wasn't a Ghostbusters movie, I don't think it'd be that bad. I don't think it's very funny. They could have cast different actresses for that if they wanted to do all female, which I don't care about. I gave it a try, at least, and just didn't care for it too much. But it's not terrible. I've seen worse, I will say. And then, of course, I love the original Star Wars trilogy. I mean, who doesn't? Yeah, it was before my time, but it's Star Wars. Star Wars sucks nowadays, and I'm not going to fucking watch it anymore. But the originals, and even the prequels, are not that bad. And I always thought the prequels weren't that bad before Disney Star Wars. I saw Revenge of the Sith when it came out in the theaters, and I liked it then. I still like it now. Attack of the Clones isn't as good, but I thought it was alright. Phantom Menace, okay, yeah, I'll give you that. That's kind of silly. But I thought Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith were good. Not better than the originals, obviously. And of course, the first two of the original trilogies, A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, I will say are the two best out of all the Star Wars movies. And I think a lot of people would say that. Next movie, Jurassic Park. We also got this on pay-per-view when it came out. Now, this is a Jurassic World collection, but it's got all 5 movies in it. I haven't watched Fallen Kingdom yet, but I'm going to watch that before I go see the new one, which I hope to go see in the theaters. So I should probably go watch this soon. Also, I didn't bring this out either. Both of these movies out, but I do think they're some of my favorites. The original Spider-Man and the X-Men movie. Those are also really good. Next movie, my dad introduced us to this one, and I always loved it since I was a kid, and that's Willow. And I've always been into fantasy. I used to love reading Greek mythology. Haven't read any in a very long time, but I've been trying to get into like Norse and other stuff as well. And I've always just been fascinated in like monsters and stuff. And I like the original Godzilla movies. But those are not my favorites. Well, I guess you could say they are favorites, but they would not be top 10. But I love them. And then this one, of course, is Dark Knight, which out of the Nolan trilogy is the best. Batman Begins was really good. Dark Knight Rises was okay. Dark Knight is definitely the best. I love that movie. I think Christian Bale is one of the best Batmen ever. And so I also like the 1989 Batman, which came out when I was 2. It was on TV all the time when I was little, and I loved watching it. And of course, I've got this collection that has, all the 90s Batman movies, but this first one is the better one. Alright, now the next two are my most favorite movies of all time. This one was my favorite movie until 2001. And that is Independence Day with Jeff Goldblum and Will Smith, Bill Pullman. The sequel was not that great. But this movie, yeah, it was my favorite, and I liked watching movies about aliens and stuff too. Of course, it came out in 96, and I was like 9 years old. And it was my favorite movie until Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. These are now my favorites. And I always lump all 3 into one. He filmed it as one. The original book was written as one. And it's better when you watch them all together. This is probably the greatest film trilogy of all time. The greatest movie of all time. I love the book, because the book is my favorite book of all time. Tolkien is my favorite writer. I don't know what else I could say about these movies. Peter Jackson did a great job adapting them. Yes, there's things in there that I'm like, I wish he just would have gone by the book, or I wish he would have added this character in. But I understand why he made the changes that he made. And everything that he did, there was good reasons behind all that he did. The Hobbit, however, I don't know how you can justify that. And now with the Rings of Power, we're learning about that. Rumor has it, the show begins with Galadriel getting bullied, and I think that's dumb. They're going to try to inject 21st century politics and culture, and it just doesn't belong there. But if you see that in there, that's you. You see what you want in it. The show will be fan fiction. I might watch the first episode, just check it out, review it, maybe laugh at it. It might be a good show, though. And if it does, there's a lot of people, myself included, who have said things about it in the past. We will be eating our words. But I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll see. And no matter what, you're not going to top the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings film trilogy. It's the best. It's just, even if they remake it, the remake's not going to be good. I'm not going to like it. And it's because I have a bias. Hey, so what? We're all biased in some way, right? And when it comes to favorite movies, we can't say these are the best movies of all time. There's arguments to be made, obviously. When I say it's the greatest movie of all time, that's my opinion. It may not be your opinion. You may think the movies suck. They're terrible. That's cool. We don't have to like the same things. There's probably stuff that you like that I think sucks. That's my opinion. That shouldn't change how you feel about something. You have free will. I have free will. And let's just leave it at that. Until next time.